Good morning. Good morning. What's going on, everybody? What is going on? Thank you very much for being here on this Monday morning, February 9th at 8 a.m. A great way to start our week, huh? A lot of good topics ready to go. Lakers and the Thunder tonight. Spurs tomorrow. Super Bowl Sunday. Might have been the most boring game I've ever watched in my life. It felt like week 7 of the NFL. It felt like just a regular Sunday. Regular Sunday. Didn't feel like anything different. We got a lot to get into this morning. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Always enjoy coming on the channel, talking Lakers, talking NBA. Work your way into the show. Hopefully everybody had a nice weekend, got a chance to chill out yesterday and do nothing. A lot of food consumed yesterday. Let's just say that. A lot of food consumed yesterday. That one's safe to say. Got a packed show today. No guest. So it's just going to be me and you talking some Lakers, talking some hoops, and a lot of good topics to hit on. If you got comments, if you got thoughts, please feel free to put it in the chat. I'm going to do my best to try to get to them. Obviously, I got a full breakdown here of what we're going to do for the show today. And let me give everyone a quick rundown. We'll look at some of the comments, and then we'll start the show. So thank you again for being here. Appreciate you guys hanging out and being a part of the show. And please subscribe to the channel if you've yet to subscribe. Cheers to you on this Monday morning with your cup of coffee. I'm on coffee number 2 now. I like having a cup of coffee while I'm prepping. And then I like going in there right before the show starts, pouring another full cup of coffee and say, let's go to work, Sliwa. Let's go to work. I'm sure a lot of people are the same way when they're at work, they're at the office. Everybody's got their own strategy, their own plan. So I'm sure we all got a similar strategy here. Okay, let me give everyone a quick rundown what we got going on for the show. Lakers, 13 games over 500. Highest mark the Lakers have had this season. 13 games over 500. So very impressive. I mean, I'll spend a little time. We'll go back, talk a little bit about that Warriors game. I won't get too crazy into it, but 6 guys scoring double figures. Real team effort without, obviously, Luka Doncic. Luke Kennard makes his debut. I thought Luke Kennard was really good. Really, really good in his debut for the Lakers. We'll spend a little bit of time on Luke Kennard. I got a clip that I want to play of Luke Kennard as well in his post-game show. So we will kind of go back and forth a little bit of what the Lakers were able to do on Saturday. And then, of course, we got another game coming up tonight. But we'll spend a little time. 13 games over 500, I don't think is something to just, and however you guys want to look at it. You could say that their record is not as good as their actual play or how much of a threat that they are. That's fine. You could find any angle you want on the Lakers. 13 games over 500 is a good record. And Lakers got 3 games left before the All-Star break. So it'll be a good test for the Lakers this week with a couple of tough games. Rob Pelinka talked on Saturday before the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. And a lot of really, really good stuff came out of there. Big picture for the Lakers, how him and Jeannie are basically able now to go to Mark Walter and basically ask for, here are the resources that we need. There's some quotes out there from an executive about things could kind of get scary around the Lakers based off of the type of resources they can bring. They're trying to take a similar model to what the Dodgers have done in Major League Baseball, even though, again, I'll continue to say it's not apples to apples, so they're not going to be able to run their business the exact same way. But I do think there are ways that the Lakers can run their business that can kind of put them back on the map of being a consistent contender. You're never going to win every single year. Of course not. But can you be a consistent threat in the NBA? And that's not what the Lakers have been. They're not a consistent threat. They're all over the place. If you look at since Dr. Jerry Buss passed back in 2013, they are all over the map and a lot more failures than successes. And the idea is new ownership is going to be able to change that. So a lot of good stuff coming out of that interview. And we'll play some of the clips. We'll react to it. So we'll do a little bit of that. Saw another article here about the Lakers' potential pursuit of Giannis in the summer. Heard Jake Fisher basically say it ain't happening. Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report's like, you don't have the assets to go make that happen. So anyways, I think one of my questions is going to be for Laker fans is big game hunting. Is that the route to go? Is it to go do everything you can and give up every asset you have for Giannis? Or is there kind of a more organic way of doing it, which is not typically the Lakers way? We'll spend some time on that. Lakers got the Thunder tonight. Some stars missing, of course, unfortunately, but Jalen Williams, I know, is going to play. We'll talk a little bit about this upcoming matchup. I'm going to probably try to bunch the two teams together. You host the Thunder tonight. You host the Spurs tomorrow. So 2 games in the next 48 hours that are going to be really, really fun to see and see how the Lakers do. Got some NBA news that I'll hit on. Cam Thomas signs with the Bucks. That was kind of random. Not really sure why he did that. Weekend recap. We'll talk a little bit of the Super Bowl. We'll call it a day. So thank you for being a part of the show. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Let me get some comments in here before we get the show started, and we'll go from there. Pelinka got to lock in or else he's bagging groceries. You know what was weird? A little bit of it when I was looking at, some of the quotes or listening to the Pelinka kind of talking about how him and Jeannie are doing this. And, they Mark Walter is going to give them every resource, all that. Kind of crazy to think of Jeannie as now, I don't know if you want to call her an employee. I mean, technically she's still governor of the Lakers, but just that in itself was like, oh yeah, no, there's a new sheriff in town. He paid $10 billion to be a new sheriff in town. And I don't disagree on this, that every single person that's a part of the Lakers organization, especially if you're part of Jeannie Buss's regime, yeah, how can you not, all of you, be looked at and saying, are you an asset or are you not an asset? Are you getting things done or are you not? And Rob Pelinka is going to be on that list as well. I haven't got one of these from Ocean Breeze in a while. He's probably sent them, and my apologies if I haven't read them. Change happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. Very nice. Tony Robbins right there. Okay. Phenomenal right there. Great game this weekend. I agree in the sense that they had a lot of different people chiming in, or not chiming in, a lot of people contributing for the Lakers. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Get one or two more here, making the kids breakfast while they listen. You're a good man, Anthony. It's a good man right there. Taking care of the kids, listening to a little bit of the pod. All right. Very nice. Very nice. All right. I am going to spend a little bit of I'll look at some of the comments here in just a little bit, but I want to kind of get started with the show here, and we'll come back to some of the comments. Okay, so 13 games over 500. Lakers had the Warriors on Saturday, and I thought for the most part just kind of handled business. From the second half on, kind of completely opened the game up in the third quarter, outscored Golden State by 9. I think outscored them by 12 in the second half. And no Steph Curry, no Jimmy Butler. Porzingis isn't there yet. He just got traded. So that's going to take a second, coming in from Atlanta. But I thought big picture for me, it was like, hey, that's just another win for the Lakers. They keep stacking up W's. You go look at that Western Conference. You got a lot of teams that are up and down right now. I mean, other than the San Antonio Spurs, Phoenix has been struggling without Devin Booker. Minnesota's just been struggling, period. They got their asses kicked yesterday against the Clippers. I'm out driving around, and, I'm listening to a little bit of pregame or pre-Super Bowl on NFL Sirius XM, and I'm going back and I'm listening a little bit to Sirius XM NBA channel. And see if I sneeze here or not. Is sneeze coming or is it not? We're good. We're good. Just a false alarm. False alarm. I'm listening to Clippers are playing the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Minnesota's down like 15 or 20. And a good friend of mine who's hopped on the show before, Alan Horton, does their radio broadcast. So I'm tuning in a little bit. I'm like, all right, we'll see what happens in this game. And they get ran. Houston's been up and down. Denver's been up and down. OKC's been dealing with injuries. They're up and down. A lot of teams in the Western Conference, it's like, yeah, there's some vulnerable teams out here. Now, it's February, so how vulnerable really are they? Because these games, they're not life and death. So here you are, you see the Lakers, and I've seen it before. People say, well, it's not that big of a deal. Lakers are winning, but this player is not playing, and Steph's not in the game, this, that. Guys, they're also playing without Luka, went a number of games without Austin Reeves. And I'm not trying to convince everybody here Lakers are going to make the NBA Finals and come out of the Western Conference. But what I will tell you is this. They did go on that 8-game road trip. They went 5-3. They have come back and won the first 2 games at home. Obviously taking care of business in these last 2 games, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Golden State Warriors. And there's some talent there, of course, in Philly. The Warriors, right now there isn't talent, but they're well coached. They find themselves 13 games over 500. It's just I'm kind of spending a second here. They could very easily be, you take 2 of these final 3 games. We'll see what happens. Again, could be tough games. We know the Lakers are typically up and down. I think OKC is going to be a really tough game tonight. Jalen Williams comes back, and they'll play defense. They'll lock in on Austin Reeves. We'll see what Reeves is able to do, and we'll see if these other players are able to step up. But 6 guys scoring double figures. Vando has been an asset. Maxi Kleber, another game where he leads the Lakers in plus minus or in plus 12, plus 13, whatever he was. I'll talk about Luke Kennard in a second. I want to wait on him. You got Rui Hachimura was excellent. You got a number of guys that are contributing right now. So Lakers in a good spot. That, I guess, for me, my biggest takeaway over the course of these last couple of weeks is they've kind of weathered the storm. The 8-game road trip was not a colossal failure. The injuries, guys in and out. What is it? LeBron, Luka, and AR have only played 10 games together so far this year. So I think there's a lot of things that you could look at. And based off where the Lakers are sitting, I think they're in a decent spot. Now, listen, come playoff time, what's it going to look like? Sure. You got your hesitations there. That's fine. I get it. I understand that. The rest of this season, we've seen the Lakers have highs and lows and everything else that comes with it. Times they want to play defense, other times they don't. When they do lose, they typically get their ass kicked. Okay, let's see what at least these next couple of games before we get to the All-Star break. But I don't know if you could really be mad at the Lakers right now from what they've been able to accomplish in the regular season. You worried about the postseason? Sure, I get it. Some people, every time Austin Reeves does something well, and they're like, yeah, but remember last year in the playoffs? It's like, all right, well, just kind of try to enjoy the moment for the time being, and we'll see what happens with the Lakers as we move forward. But 13 games over 500, I do think is something that the Lakers should stick their chest out a little bit on. And obviously, a lot of their attention, we'll see how far they're able to go this year. We'll switch to the summer and the offseason. But for now, I think the Lakers are doing their part and hanging in the Western Conference with a lot of other teams that got a lot of talent as well. So I thought Saturday night was not just representative of a good win without Luka, but I thought it was also representative of the Lakers just keep finding ways to stack some W's, and they were able to do it again on Saturday. Okay, Luke Kennard obviously comes over to the Lakers at the NBA trade deadline, and a lot of I think on the surface, a lot of people were saying to themselves, "Hey, what's no problem here with Luke Kennard? I'll take Luke Kennard. What'd you give up? Second rounder and Gabe Vincent." Gabe Vincent clearly was never doing anything consistent for the Lakers. Luke Kennard's first game. I kind of emphasized this on Saturday, but anytime I do my morning show, it gives me more of a time to react to it, take my time more. We're reacting less to a game and just talking a little bit more big picture with the Lakers. I thought Kennard looked excellent in his first game as a Laker. Excellent in his first game as a Laker. 26 minutes. 10 points off 7 shots, 4 of 7 from the field. Couple of rebounds, couple assists. Definitely a real true threat from the outside where if you're leaning too much because you want to help out on Austin Reeves, if you're leaning too much, you want to help out on LeBron, you can't give Luke Kennard much space. And if you do, that's a real threat. Not going to be a high volume shooter for the Lakers. Don't expect 15 to 18 points. That's not who he is, and that's not who he's been in his career. But damn, is he efficient, and damn, is he a threat from the 3-point line. So I thought, for Laker fans to get a chance to see him suit up for the first time since the trade deadline, didn't play on Thursday, and then played on Saturday, I thought he looked great. It's just one game. I'm not telling you the Lakers just signed Ray Allen or Reggie Miller. Statistically, they did sign one of the best, most efficient 3-point shooters literally in the history of the NBA. And it's a guy they just desperately need on this team. I thought Luke Kennard was really good for them in his first game as a Los Angeles Laker. And it was fun to watch him play. It was fun to see how he could be a value. And it's also kind of nice to see he's got a little bit more than just hitting a jumper. He can, take a couple dribbles in. He can find somebody because defenses are so worried about him from the perimeter. He can throw up a little pump fake, get to the basket, and then find another guy. Luke Kennard was nice in his first game, and you could easily tell he's going to be so much more of an asset for the Lakers than Gabe Vincent ever was. Again, he's going to have games where he doesn't shoot that much. He misses shots. I'm sure OKC is going to be a lot smarter on how they guard him and everything else. But I thought he was really, really good in his first game. Let's take a listen because I do want to I want to play something from Luke Kennard post game. I didn't get a chance to play it on Monday, and let's listen to Luke Kennard just kind of reacting after his first game as a Los Angeles Laker. A couple things that he said. Let's take a quick listen to Kennard.
Sure what your expectations were coming into the game, but what was it like playing a key role, making some key plays in a victory and closing out the game?
Yeah. I mean, it's huge to play at a place like this. I mean, biggest stage in basketball. It's something special. And I think for me, expectation was obviously get a win. That's the biggest thing at the end of the day. But for me, just to be aggressive out there, try to make plays when I can, and have an impact, whether it's shooting, passing, screening, rebound, anything it is. That was my expectation for myself, and I thought it was a really good win.
All right, that's Luke Kennard right there. So 2 things I walked away with over the weekend. Another win for the Lakers, 13 games over 500, and Luke Kennard looks like he's going to fit great for the Lakers. So certainly, I know it's not the big, maybe splashy move that people wanted at the trade deadline, but I do think the Lakers are trying to be responsible. I do think they're trying to put themselves, and we'll get into it with some of the Pelinka sound bites that we got from Saturday. I do think for the short term, Luke Kennard looks like a perfect fit for the Lakers. And finally, how many different players have come to the Lakers and either you thought they were shooters and they weren't, they end up being shooters somewhere else. They were a shooter before they came to the Lakers. Luke Kennard actually in his first game looked like he fit perfectly and certainly will be a good contributor for the Lakers. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here, and then we'll start getting into some of this Pelinka stuff. A bless you. I like that. Yeah, I've never got a bless you, but thank you for the bless you. That never ended up happening. It's a pump fake. Pump fake, get the guy in the air, throw your shoulder at him, 2 free throws. That's basically what I did right there. Serious dude, I know some Warriors were not letting him get open, all which is perfect. Plus this dude moves around a lot. Doesn't just stay put like Gabe. Yeah, it's a massive difference from Gabe Vincent. Massive difference. And listen, maybe Gabe had reached a point where it's like, I don't know, maybe his confidence had plummeted as well in his 2.5 years with the Lakers. Maybe it was time for a change either way. All right, let's get a couple more comments in here. Got a super here. Thank you for the super, brother. Very, very nice of you with that 10 spot right there. Northborough here. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the 10 spot. I was skeptical about Kennard, but didn't know Kennard from Ohio and went to Bronx camp as a kid. Add being a Duke sharpshooter, he was a lock to get on the Lakers all along. Listen, whether they were able to get him or not, I don't know. I know we were kind of targeting a lot of different names. I mean, think about some of the different names we were talking about during the trade deadline. A lot of them were 3-and-D players. It was Herb Jones, Trey Murphy III, Andrew Wiggins, Jared Allen's name you started hearing, DeAndre Hunter right before the trade deadline ended, or a couple of days before the trade deadline ended. I didn't really hear Luke Kennard's name. So when that trade happened, and it happened right before our show started on Thursday, there was a little bit like, well, what the hell do you got to lose? You got nothing to lose. And oh, by the way, Luke Kennard is a real shooter. So if I know JJ Redick said this will kind of help. Was it JJ or Pelinka that said something to the effect of they'll have the ability to go really small on lineups and it's just shooters everywhere, scores everywhere. Now you can't really run that over the course of a full quarter or long stretches because you got to have some defenders, but it gives them some versatility that they definitely didn't have. No question about it. Gives them some versatility that they didn't have. Let's see what else we have here. Knock Pelinka a few rungs down the totem pole and hire an actual basketball operation structure, and enough with the genie bus ran by pajama part era. Okay. Listen, I'll tell you this, Dave. I don't think a lot of Laker fans disagree with you on this. And there's going to be a lot of conversation, not just in today's show, but the rest of the way moving forward for the Lakers, asking the question like, hey, is Pelinka the right guy? By the way, I think you could also say, is JJ the right guy? You can also ask the question of, does the front office or does Mark Walter and his group, is it really Genie for 5 years as the governor? I mean, how much is he kind of stepping in and saying, look, you got the title, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be making all the decisions? I think there's a lot of fair questions there. No question about it. There's a lot of fair questions there. Get a couple more here. Kennard trade might have gave Pelinka the time to make a run at Giannis this summer. That will be a topic a little bit later as well. Kennard is already our best shooter. Oh, no question about that. Yeah, that's an easy one. That's his specialty, right? He's not going to be the facilitator that Luka is or the driver that Luka and AR are. This is what he does. He's supposed to be a shooter. Everybody's kind of got their role in the NBA. If you're Vando, your role is to play defense, and every once in a while, if you can get a couple of buckets because you drove to the basket or you cut to the basket or you got to everybody's got a role. This is going to be Luke Kennard's role. Okay, so let's all right, some good comments here. Really good comments. A lot of people got something to say. Let's keep the show moving here. There are a few different things that I want to get into, and I did mention I got some, sound bites here from definitely got some sound clips here that I want to play from Rob Pelinka addressing the media on Saturday. So let's kind of shift our attention there. Before I do so, I'm going to give a shout out to one of our partners here, Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. Thank you to their partnership. Not only have I known Brad Wallace now for about 6 years, was with me when I was on radio, now obviously with me on YouTube as well. Just a great, great loyal friend and a partner. If you are a family member, have been in a serious injury, a wrongful death case, and just don't know what to do, what's the first step? Where do you go? You got insurance companies that are always going to try to settle, never want to give you what you deserve, what you're owed. They want to give you the least amount possible. He could represent anybody in the state of California. Definitely real deal, as good as it gets. You might not see all these billboards with him and everything else, but people within the industry, they know who Brad Wallace is. And this is a great way for me to just tell, obviously, our audience, and I hope nobody ever needs him. But if you do need an injury attorney, you can go to the website we created, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Absolutely free consultation. No win, no fee. That's their motto there. Again, I'm happy to make an introduction. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Best in the business, can help anybody in the state of California. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. Okay. Let me do this here because something happened on Saturday that I think really, really gave a little bit more of a look into the Lakers front office, gave a little bit more into a look of how Mark Walter, and since the purchase of Mark Walter and his group into the Los Angeles Lakers for $10 billion, how they're looking at this Lakers organization. Typically, your president of basketball operations, right after the trade deadline, will address the media. And Pelinka is not going to address the media every couple of weeks, but a few times of the year, you're going to hear. You're going to hear before the season starts. You're going to hear after the trade deadline. You're going to hear from Rob Pelinka once the season ends. You're guaranteed at least to hear from Rob Pelinka 3 times. Maybe he'll jump on, do something with Spectrum or do something here and there. But for the most part, you're going to hear from him 3 times. The difference this year is this is really the first time we've heard from Rob Pelinka since the final official sale of the Lakers. And what does it look like? What are the roles? What are people talking about internally there? Let's take a listen here because I got a few clips I do want to play, and then we'll react to all of them. Some of them will be about the trade deadline. Some of them will be about the front office. What are the Lakers' needs and everything else? Take a quick listen here. The first clip I'm going to play is Rob telling the media before the Warriors game the kind of the conversations between him and Jeannie and what areas Mark Walter should be putting in some of the resources for the Lakers and their front office. Take a listen to Rob Pelinka.
Yeah, so when Mark bought the team, Jeannie and I did a really deep dive with him on sort of the areas he wants to grow and move into and get aggressive. And again, looking at the Dodgers and how they built it out has been a great sort of example in North Star. And so we're still going through that process of how we'll look in the offseason and what additions we'll make. But there will be some positive changes, and we'll build things out, again, led by myself and Jeannie and with Mark's support. Yeah.
Okay, so let me tell you what that kind of says to me. I don't know if you guys remember this. A couple of weeks ago, I was mentioning, new ownership was coming into conversation, and I forget what I think it was. I think it was during the story comes out from Baxter Holmes, and mentioned this. I'm like, this Jeannie bus stuff is a little bit of a distraction here, and the bus story conversation kind of is what it is, but did they truly appreciate LeBron, this and that? I'm like, you got chapters that are all need to close around the Lakers so they could start this new chapter, which really is Luka, Mark Walter in the group, and whatever else the future looks like. I thought this was interesting from Rob, but I mentioned this. I'll go back to a couple weeks ago. I said, you know what I'm waiting for from new ownership? I'm waiting to just hear, not that this player signed, not that the Lakers are targeting this guy in the summer. What I'm waiting to hear is the Lakers signed a general manager that's one of the brightest basketball minds that's right next to Rob Pelinka, and they're just adding more individuals that understand the game, that understand the CBA, that understand the aprons, that understand talent, evaluating talent, all that stuff. I'm waiting for the front office. I'm waiting for an article to come out and say, damn, the Lakers just got that front office executive, or damn, Lakers just went out and got one of the best scouts in the world. He's now going to join the Los Angeles Lakers. Yes, the Lakers cannot go out and sign players the way baseball signs players. That's not going to be Mark Walter. What his strength may be in baseball, it's not going to be the same strength in basketball. But what he can do, and the Lakers clearly need this, you're going to tell me that there's other front offices out there that have a president of basketball operations, and then they also have a general manager, and then they probably have some other layers below that. The Lakers don't have that. So Rob Pelinka is just supposed to be the genius in every room, and whatever he says goes. That doesn't sound like a good idea and a good game plan. That also doesn't sound like a smart way of using your resources. It's like a company or a business, and you have your general manager that basically does everything. Okay, well, who's after the general manager? Do you have an assistant GM? No, we don't have one. Okay. Well, what's the next level of personnel that you have? Well, it's GM, and then it's just salespeople. Well, you don't have a sales manager or anything? No, we go general manager, and then we go directly to our salespeople. It's like, yeah, but there's other organizations that have an assistant GM, then they have a sales manager, and then they might have 2 or 3 sales managers, and then they have their individual salespeople. Lakers are missing from a structure perspective. They don't have enough people. Not only do they not have enough people, they don't have enough bright minds within that front office. So Pelinka says right there, him and Jeannie are in touch with Mark Walter. Mark Walter is going to be very aggressive of putting together the front office that the Lakers need to just have more basketball minds. I'm not even here to tell you that Pelinka's the right guy or he's the wrong guy. But what I am here to tell you is other teams just have a lot more resources than the Lakers when it comes to their front office. If there's a way Mark Walter is going to be able to have the type of impact, the most impact he could have as a new owner of the Lakers, they better stock up in that front office. That to me is the only thing that matters moving forward. Listen, they'll be able to get players. Of course, you got to go out and put together a roster that makes sense. All that stuff. Absolutely. But what happens in that war room in, El Segundo that's nowhere near Crypto.com arena, and what they're game planning and how many different basketball minds do you have there? That's the thing that Mark Walter can have his fingerprints all over, is what that front office is going to look like. So it was a little weird kind of listening to Rob, and you know that the Lakers are very, very thin when it comes to the front office. But if there's an area that we all know that the Lakers will change, it's going to be the front office. And maybe Jeannie and the Buss family, maybe they didn't stockpile there because they just didn't have the resources and the money. Maybe they didn't want to because they want all the control that they can possibly have, and they don't want to give up some of that control. That ain't going to happen with Mark Walter. I mean, clearly, if you're Rob Pelinka, it's impossible that Rob Pelinka is not a little bit uncomfortable with this. Well, they're going to bring in some other basketball minds, and that's either going to help me or expose me, or maybe you don't look at it that way. But I think the point that I'm trying to make is we're going to find out how many different people they bring into that front office and how much of an impact that's going to have on the Lakers. Okay, let me get another clip here from Rob Pelinka. This one will kind of start turning the page a little bit. So whatever happens this season the rest of the way. But Pelinka was talking about the trade deadline. And I know this became a little bit of a conversation in regards to how Rob Pelinka was explaining short-term, long-term future. Take a listen to how Rob Pelinka is discussing the Lakers at the trade deadline, how aggressive they were or lack of being aggressive. Take a listen to Pelinka explaining it here.
Yeah, I think Dave, people like to say, we're such and such team aggressive at the deadline. And I would say we were aggressive. And one form of being aggressive is saying no to moves that come your way that might not be best for the short and long-term future. That's like being aggressive, even though you end up doing nothing, because it's hard to say no sometimes to getting a good player that could be a quick short-term fix, but could have implications for the long-term where it doesn't fit into the overall vision you have for the team. So we were very aggressive. We worked incredibly hard. We evaluated numerous things. To your point, I can't go into specific players or conversations with other GMs that would impede the trust of our business going forward. But we were super aggressive, had multiple conversations, had lots of them, got close on some things, but ended up making the move we made, and we feel good about it.
All right, that's Pelinka right there explaining the – I guess I get a little confused. Maybe the word aggressive is not the right word. Obviously, he feels like it is the right word. Aggressive means, in my opinion, that they went out there and said, F it. We're going to make a trade. We got a first rounder. Well, you know what? We're in this window that we don't know how much longer LeBron's going to play. So let's just do everything we can right now to try to win. And if we're giving up a first rounder for it, who cares? Let's just make our team better. And then we'll worry about the summer come the summer. I don't know if aggressive is the right word to explain that. I think the Lakers probably more strategic. Yeah, they didn't make a move. They made one small move for Luke Kennard, which I like the move. They gave up a second rounder and Gabe Vincent. They were definitely, the word aggressive is not the right word. I thought they showed discipline. I thought they're trying to clearly plan for the big picture. I think they also said, there are times that you say, let's go all in. And the Lakers just are not in a position right now to go all in. They're not. It just doesn't make sense to go all in. And does that mean they're conceding the rest of this year? Maybe to an extent. Maybe what they're saying is we're not going to throw resources to give ourselves a smaller chance to get to the Western Conference Finals because we just don't think we can win it all. And maybe they just think there's a couple other teams that are in front of them. And I also think that, it just depends. When you had Anthony Davis and LeBron James, it was easier to go all in because you really couldn't see the future. When you have Luka Doncic, you could see the future better. And now the question starts becoming, well, how do you take some of your resources and try to build for the long term and build for the future and put yourself in a better position? I will tell you this trade deadline to me was a little bit unique in how I think Laker fans viewed the trade deadline, because typically I think there's a lot of Laker fans where there's not a lot of moves being made. They demolish the front office. I didn't really feel that this year. And maybe I didn't feel that because there's new ownership and there is a lot of confidence in new ownership. And they just feel like, well, they must know what they're doing. But I feel like most Laker fans were kind of like, hey, here's a free pass to this year, because the idea and the concept is you're going to have 3 first-rounders in the summer. If some of these players don't make marginal moves that don't really make sense, don't try to win the media by saying, or the popularity contest by saying, hey, we made a move so we could just appease everybody. Just do what you think's in the best interest for the team, short and long term. And if something makes sense short term, but it doesn't make sense long term, I don't have an issue with how the Lakers approach this trade deadline. But him describing this as they were very aggressive, probably not the right word, not the right term. I think aggressive means they made a lot of moves. They gave up their first rounder. The roster looks a lot different. Aggressive is the right definition for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They were aggressive, made a lot of moves. They're in a kind of win now mode, do everything that you can do. That, I think, is aggressive. I thought the Lakers were strategic at the trade deadline, and I don't have an issue with it. I really don't. I think the Lakers, honestly, I'm really looking forward to the summer, because I think they are creating real expectations for the summer, and I think this team's going to look a lot different, and I think that one chapter will finally close, and a new chapter will officially start under Luka Doncic and under Mark Walter in their group, under new ownership. And I think the expectations are just going to grow in the summer. So those are a couple of takeaways that I had with Pelinka's interview on Saturday. And obviously that created a lot of conversation, stirred up a lot of things as well. And I think it's going to make for a really interesting what the Lakers look like the rest of this year. By the way, the Lakers are not awful the rest of this year. I do think the Lakers can be a headache. I do think they can make a little bit of a run in the playoffs, but would I be surprised if they won one round in the postseason, depending on what the matchup looks like? That's not going to be a complete shocker. Actually, the more the dust settles, it's like, well, Houston's got some holes. Minnesota's got holes. Phoenix has holes. A lot of these teams have holes. The question is going to be, can you win 2 rounds? That would be a little bit more of a surprise to me. That's when you start playing the Denvers of the world, or San Antonio, or the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I think it's going to be tough to beat any of those 3 teams 4 times in the 7-game set. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments. There's one other thing that I am going to play on Pelinka, but I'll do that a little bit later. I do want to spend a little bit of time looking at some of your comments from here. Let's see what people got. I like the Kennard trade, but have no confidence that Rob can build a winner around Luka. I hope he can, but I doubt it. Well, I will tell you this, and I really truly mean this when I say it. I do think that Rob Pelinka, it's impossible. Mark Walter's not going to come out and say it. Whoever his closest, individuals are that he deals with and talks about when it comes to the Lakers, it's impossible that he's not saying, hey, keep an eye out on Pelinka. I want to know if this is the guy for the job or if it's not. Simple as that. And I'm sure he's saying the same thing about some of the other front office executives. I'm sure he's saying more. I'm sure he's saying things like that in regards to all the people Jeannie Buss hired that have been a part of the Lakers organization. I mean, guys, I don't think Mark Walter is coming here to make best friends with the Lakers and whoever's already there. He's trying to build, maybe this is too aggressive of a word. The guy is trying to build a winner. And he's probably in his head and has already convinced himself like, hey, I can build dynasties, because that's what he's doing in baseball. I mean, I genuinely do not know of another organization right now in all of sports that looks like what he's built on the baseball side of things. See what happens in the NBA. But this piece about Rob Pelinka, do I think Rob Pelinka, if I went out there and got 10 of the brightest NBA minds and said, hey, do you think Rob Pelinka is a top 5 president of basketball operations in the NBA? I think people would probably look at me and say, are you crazy? I think that's what Pelinka is going to be dealing with. Now, listen, maybe Pelinka's like, well, nobody's giving me any resources. I got real resources now with Mark Walter. Now it's going to be up to Pelinka and whoever's there to figure out what the Lakers need to do to, obviously become the team of the future that they're trying to become. Do you know what makes successful organizations? It's not winning every year. Like, I don't want to sit here and make it so. The Shaq and Kobe's that you got and winning 3 championships in a row, those will come, that's once in a generation. Winning 3 in a row doesn't mean you can't build a dynasty like the Lakers have had in the past or the Golden State Warriors have. And you go down the list of some of these other dynasties. The San Antonio Spurs certainly built a dynasty. It's not about winning every single year. It's being in contention every year. That's the Lakers' goal. The Lakers' goal is when the season starts, everyone every single year is like, yeah, they're going to be in the mix again. Yep, the Thunder are going to be in the mix again. Yeah, the Celtics are going to be in the mix again. Yes, the San Antonio Spurs, that's kind of the trajectory that they're on. They're going to be in the mix again. That's all you're trying to do if you're the Lakers. You can't control the injuries. You can't control sometimes a guy will choke or a coach will make poor decisions or whatever. You can't control that. But the idea is, can you be in contention every single year? And is Pelinka going to be a part of that in the future? It's an important year for Rob Pelinka. It's going to be an important year for Rob Pelinka. All right, let's see what else we have here. All right, somebody complimenting the channel. I appreciate that. Someone should have asked Rob, what is the vision for this team? We keep getting these combo guards when we clearly need wing depth. He sounds uninformed and out of touch on today's game. I think he's also working with what he has. I think he knows what the Lakers need. I think the question is, this trade deadline, was he able to address what the Lakers need? Did it cost too much? I've given this example before. You can't walk into Neiman Marcus with $100 and say, yep, I want to grab a suit. I want to grab some really nice shoes and a really nice belt. That's what I'm thinking of. The people at Neiman Marcus would say, well, we appreciate your time. Nordstrom Rack is right across the street. Go take your chances over there. And the Lakers went to Nordstrom Rack and they said, we got Gabe Vincent and a second rounder. They said, we'll bring you Luke Kennard back. There is a little bit of, well, what does the big picture look like? And there is, what do you have in front of you that you can use to go try to make a trade? And the Lakers decided, well, I'm not giving up that first rounder. And if they walked into Neiman Marcus and they said, well, yeah, you got $500 in your account. Do you want to spend it? And they're like, no, we don't want to. All right, then go across the street. That's what the Lakers did. All right, a lot of good comments here. If Rob doesn't do anything in the offseason, he needs to be fired. Wasting another year of Luka is sacrilegious. I don't know what that says. I don't completely disagree with that. Listen, I've said this before. I think Rob's going to get at least another year. I think JJ is going to get at least another year and probably a little bit more than that. So then it just comes down to how much time is he actually going to get? And he doesn't have to go win a championship in a year, but he's got to show that the team is moving in the right direction. That's what he's got to show. We got to have kind of one of those summers where it's like, yeah, the Lakers are going to be really good this upcoming season. They address the needs that they did. Luka's happy. He feels good about what the future feels like. I think they need that type of offseason. And I think the expectations are only going up on the offseason. I got one more clip I want to play here from Rob. Before I do so, let's give another shout out here. I'm doing something tomorrow, by the way. So Harris hooked it up. They are really, really cool, really, really nice of them. By the way, we're working on getting, I should have a code for everybody here pretty soon that will be exclusive to our listeners, and you can book through Harris, actually through us. Tomorrow, we're going to do a little bit of trivia. I have a one-night stay in a luxury suite plus a $350 resort credit to Harris Resort that we're giving away tomorrow. How badass is that? I don't know if you guys saw. I did, my show from there, my morning show from there. I did my member show and my post-game show from the suite that I was staying in. This thing was ridiculous. I don't even know what the hell to tell you guys. I walked in there. I was uncomfortable. I'm like, who's this for? They're like, for you. I'm like, all right. Harris Resort is a proud partner. Very, very excited to have them. Obviously a part of the show through my partnership with iHeart and AM 570. And they're going to be giving away tomorrow a one-night stay in a luxury suite plus a $350 resort credit. Let's just say, have your freaking trivia ready to go tomorrow. Just be ready for some trivia tomorrow. Obviously, if you're somebody that's in They're out here in Southern California, so I know we have listeners everywhere. But if you're in SoCal, be a part of this trivia tomorrow. If you're not, I would say stay out of the mix just so somebody can actually win it that can use it. Shout out to them, harrahsocal.com. If you want to book your next stay, they're located in North San Diego up by the Palomar Mountains. Really, really beautiful, beautiful resort. And a lot of great amenities, restaurants, entertainment, whether that's music or comedians. Consider them, give them an opportunity to earn your business. Go on the website, harrahsocal.com. Great for a staycation. Okay, good stuff right there. I got one other clip here I want to play from Rob Pelinka. A lot of Rob Pelinka today. Jesus. What am I running? It's like a public relations company for Rob Pelinka. Good or bad? A lot of Pelinka talk today. Last clip I want to play from Pelinka. Rob Pelinka was talking about how the Lakers have kind of positioned themselves for this upcoming summer and how the Lakers are going to try to capitalize on all these other teams that have been affected by the CBA, that they've put themselves in a spot where he thinks they can, take advantage. And in this dog eat dog world, whatever the hell that saying is, Lakers are going to try to obviously do most of their damage moving forward. Just listen to this because I think it's interesting the way he explains. By the way, all this coming from Dave McMenamin. I got to reach out to Dave this week, try to get him back on the show. And a lot of our other clips, Spectrum Sportsnet had the post-game show with Luke Kennard. So shout out to both of those outlets here for making it happen. Take a listen in regards to how the Lakers are going to try to capitalize on things. Here's Pelinka.
I think it's clear for all the teams in the league that this dual apron system is harsh and strict, and some teams have dabbled over the second apron and realize it can be a real challenge. And I think we wanted, knowing that there's an unintended consequence when a new system comes into place, teams kind of learn their way through it. We felt like creating optionality or having optionality now is really a positive thing for us this coming off season, because there's some teams that maybe have gotten too deep into the aprons, and I think players we see around the league that become available when teams get in that position. So whether it's through free agency, whether it's keeping our own players, whether it's looking around the league for players that are really good that maybe teams are trying to get off salary, we feel like there'll be so many different ways to complete our roster in the offseason. That said, we believe in the power of this group, and we're not even there yet. We want to see what this team can do with the rest of the season. I wouldn't underestimate the power of what a group of brothers can do when they come together for a playoff run. So we feel like we have a really good roster, and we want to get healthy and make a run, and that'll help us evaluate end of the season stuff too. We haven't made any decisions about any of that prematurely.
All right, that's Pelinka right there. Great stuff. Want to at least play those clips so those who didn't get a chance to listen to it got a couple of those clips. Again, shout out to Dave McMenamin putting all that stuff on X, and obviously we played some of that stuff today. Okay, so I think it's safe to say this. It feels like the future for the Lakers is really, really bright, and it's not because I'm going to be frank here. It's not because of Rob Pelinka. It's not because of JJ Redick. It's not because of Jeannie Buss. It's not because I can make an argument. It's not solely because of just Luka Doncic. It's because there's new ownership coming into play. And I think listening to Rob explain, somebody had a comment here, which I think is actually a really, really accurate comment here. Let me see what somebody said here. See if I could find it. I still try to find this here. Nah, maybe I'm not going to be able to. Somebody had said something to the effect that if ownership didn't change, Pelinka would have made a trade. And the fact that he didn't has more to do with the fact that, here it is, the fact that Lakers didn't make big moves in the deadline. That's an indication that the ownership stepped in. I think Rob would have gone all in. I think that's such a good point in regards to, for the first time, it feels like the Lakers aren't chasing their own tail. And it's interesting what he said, because there are a lot of teams juggling a lot of shit because of this new CBA and the first apron and the second apron. There's a lot of teams overextending themselves. There's a lot of teams that gave up so many draft assets over these last couple of years. They got nothing left to work with. Not every team is in a perfect position. I've said this before, and this was kind of a lot of articles that came out a little bit earlier or after the trade deadline. Lakers are one of the few teams of contending teams that got a lot of options coming up this summer. And there are going to be players that are available. There are going to be teams trying to get off of contracts. There are going to be some real talent out there, that the type of cap space that Lakers have in the summer, and now they'll have 3 first rounders as well. I think it does kind of say that the Lakers have put themselves in a position. I read this. This was an article coming from The Athletic, and Dan Weike had wrote it. And it's talking about the flexibility that the Lakers are going to have. The summer represents an opportunity armed with significant cap flexibility to start building the necessary components of modern front office and reap early benefits. Here's what one front office executive said. It's going to be scary, one rival executive said when asked about the potential of the built-out front office the Lakers are expected to assemble. So I think I don't think people are throwing away this season, but I think they're excited about, hey, the future looks bright. And that's the last clip I wanted to play of Rob Pelinka, because whether you love Rob Pelinka or you don't, I think the thing that you got to remember is there is a new sheriff in town. It is Mark Walter. It is that group. And I think they're gonna put the Lakers in a tremendous position moving forward. But a lot of good stuff there. I think Pelinka is doing the best he can to explain whatever the thought process is and whatever's going on behind closed doors. But I think the only reason why most Laker fans were okay with what the Lakers did in the trade deadline, understand they're not going to be the favorite to come out of the Western Conference this year, and understand that they could very easily, this season could be done by the time you get to May 1st. That could happen May 15th, whatever the case is. I think big picture, people are looking at things not because of what Rob Pelinka said, but because new ownership has stepped in. Okay, good stuff right there. There's one other piece here that I want to get into, and I think this is going to be an interesting conversation as well. I'm just going to throw this question out to Laker fans, and then we can go from there. It's interesting to hear, and again, this is going to go back to the conversation about this article with Dan Weike. I just want to get everybody's gauge here for a quick second. Giannis was held on to at the trade deadline. Giannis is already being talked about in the summer. This article here that the Lakers could offer, 3 first-round picks. We'll see what happens after that. What do people make right now of the Giannis Antetokounmpo sweepstakes? I've heard Jake Fisher say Lakers are not going to have a better offer than Minnesota. They're not going to have a better offer than Miami, Golden State, some of these other teams out there. Is the star chasing the right approach for the Lakers to take and do everything they can and go all in on Giannis? Or do you want to see something that's a little bit more organic? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but part of this article had that Giannis Antetokounmpo, the fact that he stayed, obviously that gives the Lakers an actual chance in the summer. Is that what Laker fans want to see, or do they want to see a little bit different of an approach? I think the Giannis piece will always be a conversation until this guy signs a long-term extension with the Milwaukee Bucks or he signs somewhere else. We're talking about this. Remember Mark Stein mentioned this last week? If they can go all the way to the summer with Giannis still being a Milwaukee Buck, then the Lakers are a viable asset, and we'll see if that eventually becomes the case for the Lakers and if they get their opportunity. I got a little bit of mixed feelings. I think the natural reaction on the Giannis thing is yes, if he's available and he wants, there's a chance to go get him, do everything you can to go get him. I guess where I'm a little bit more interested is what's plan B, right? Is that when you start going after the Peyton Watsons, the Tari Easons of the world? Are there other players that you're targeting that's got a little bit more long-term, or you got to go get that talent right away? That's going to be part of the conversation in the offseason as well. Okay. I'm going to take a look at a couple of the comments. I know there's a lot of people that wanted to chime in on this Pelinka stuff, so I'm going to do that as well. And then I got a couple things around the NBA. Lakers are hosting the Thunder tonight. We'll talk a little bit towards the end of the show on the Super Bowl as well. If you watch the Super Bowl, you basically watch paint dry, and then we'll go from there. Slee doing partner giveaways, next level. All right, good. I'm glad you're excited about that. It's going to be fun tomorrow. give away that package to Harrison. By the way, it's a great package. 1 night stay luxury suite, $350 room credit. So phenomenal stuff from them as well. We're going to give that away tomorrow. Slee, timing is everything. With what Rob had done in the past 5 years with the team, he didn't mastermind Luka. Luka fell to us. You could have closed that deal. What you got to say? I got to close that. I mean, I feel like you're taking a shot at me when you say you could have closed that deal. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I think people want to give Rob no credit. I'm going to give Rob credit because, yes, was it one of the dumbest trades in NBA history with Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka? Sure, of course it was. We all know that. But Rob Pelinka did have a relationship with Nico Harrison. So I'm going to give Rob's relationship with Nico credit. So we can't just pick and choose when we want to give people credit. I mean, that's the part that I'm going to give Pelinka credit on the Luka trade. And even when LeBron came to the Lakers or they made the trade for Anthony Davis, nobody wants to ever give anybody credit. All right, that's fine. But I did see what the Lakers were doing before LeBron got here, and they weren't able to attract any free agents. So whether that was just LeBron wanting to come or not, whether that was just the brand being as big as the brand was, it doesn't matter to me. They found a way to get it done. So I'm going to give credit where credit's due. The bigger question is now, should Rob be driving the car? And that's a question for obviously new ownership to figure it out. Let's see. Pelinka is prime Jordan when it comes to excuses. I love the Fugazi. I love Fugazi. Fugazi to me is just one of the best words out there. If you haven't seen Donnie Brasco, can you please go watch Donnie Brasco right when the show ends? If you're at work, tell your office, hey, listen, I need an hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes. I'm watching Johnny Depp. I'm watching Al Pacino. I got to watch a little bit of Donnie Brasco. Pelinka like Vincent, just stealing money. Oof. Gabe Vincent did it. I mean, how about his agent? Great job they did. Lakers sent a message loud and clear. Business is being done differently now. 100% about that. 100% right about that. Let's get another one in here. Like we had a lot of work to do this offseason. I don't trust Pelinka anymore. Still agree that with Walters, no question about it. I mean, I'm with you on that's the only, let's just say Lakers didn't sell. And it was still Genie Bus, and it was still Rob Pelinka, and it was still kind of this very, very thin front office because the Lakers haven't put the resources there. The tone would have been a lot different at the trade deadline. The tone would have been a lot different about the summer. And that all changed because of new ownership. All right, let's see a couple of comments on this Giannis side of stuff. Giannis won't solve anything. Need depth, not another non-shooter who won't stay healthy. If Giannis wants to be a Laker, he'll be a Laker. It's really all on him. If he calls, I'm sure Pelinka will pick. Well, of course, 100%. Time to stop with the star chasing. I hope this new management builds differently. OKC is the template. Can I say this? This is why I wanted to ask the question, because I actually think there's a decent amount of Laker fans that are like, you sure on Giannis? Some of his injury history recently, where he is in his age, is that the perfect complement with Luka Doncic? Are you worried a little bit about his health and everything else? So listen, if Giannis wants to be a Laker, he's going to be a Laker. That part I definitely agree on. But I think it's a fair conversation to just say, like, we sure 100%? Is that the plan to take? If you ask me, I think if you can get Giannis, you get Giannis and you figure it out from there. That really is giving you 2 top 5 players in the NBA. You already have a perennial MVP to candidate. Stop chasing Giannis and build modern NBA team. Wow, look at that. A lot of actually people against the Giannis piece of things. Donnie Brown. It's a great movie, guys. It's just a great movie. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. I mean, I would turn off the stream right now and I would go tune into that. All right. I'm going to start getting into the last couple of things we have for the show. And thank you for being a part of the show. Phenomenal way to start the week on a Monday. Next game for the Lakers tonight, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I actually got a lot of curiosity on tonight's game, Lakers and OKC. I really do. I'm very, very interested to watch the Lakers and the Thunder. And I know SGA is not playing. All right, well, neither is Luka Doncic. So honestly, I don't know. I don't really have that many excuses. The Oklahoma City Thunder, Jalen Williams is back tonight. AJ Mitchell is not, which I would have liked to see AJ Mitchell there as well. But nonetheless, the Lakers got the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight. That's going to be a fun game. And I will tell you this, if they're able to get another win and just kind of keep stacking up some W's, and now they're 14 games over 500, it'd be very impressive. Tomorrow's going to be a really tough game against the San Antonio Spurs. But I'll tell you this. If the Lakers have another game where they have 22 turnovers, where I think that's kind of been their mark the last couple of games, they had a high amount of turnovers against Philly, high amount of turnovers yesterday or on Saturday against the Golden State Warriors. You get 22 turnovers tonight against OKC, you're losing by 10 plus. Let's see if the Lakers can have another one of these games where a number of different players are contributing. I will say that Ayton is a game time decision with knee soreness. You know what's crazy? Ayton missed a game against Golden State. I don't think it was even a conversation. I'm just being honest. I don't think people really cared that much. So something to keep in mind in regards to that. A couple other kind of small little Laker news and notes here, and then I'm going to get into the NBA news. Lakers signed Kobe Bufkin to a 2-year deal, remainder of the season, and a team option for 26-27. That actually fills the Lakers' 15th and final roster spot. We'll see what they do in regards to the buyout market. They'd have to cut a player or they'd have to waive a player if they're going to go grab somebody else. Maybe they just don't think there's anybody out there that will be able to help them or is worth, trying to make a run at. So something to keep in mind in regards to that. Dalton Knecht, the Thiero, assigned to the G League, with Thiero making progress on the court. The only name that I care about right there, my apologies to Dalton Knecht in advance. I'd love to see a Thiero get healthy. We got to see nothing of him this year. Couple articles around the NBA. Why did Cam Thomas sign with the Milwaukee Bucks in the buyout market? Why? What's the point of that? What's he going to do there? I have the team. Let me tell you guys this quick story on Friday. I'm listening to NBA Sirius XM, and they're talking about where Cam Thomas can sign. I already had a team in my head. I'm like, I got a team for them. I got a team perfect for them. Perfect for Cam Thomas. Houston. I thought the Rockets would be a perfect fit for him. They need bucket getters. They need more people that can create and take a little bit of pressure off of Kevin Durant. Plus, they've been struggling. I thought Cam Thomas was perfect for Houston. And you could go make a little bit of a playoff run. Why did he sign with the Bucks? I don't know. I really don't. But let me read what Cam Thomas told Anscape. I picked Milwaukee because they wanted me, and they told me they've been interested for years now. So it's good to have this opportunity come to fruition. And I'm just hoping to meet everybody, get to know everybody, and contribute as soon as possible. Maybe the Bucks want you, but I'm going to be honest with you. You shouldn't want the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't think that was the right place for him. I don't think he's going to get nearly as much potential run that he can or exposure, but Cam Thomas going to the Bucks. I'm going to wait on the other buyout players for now. Let's kind of see what the Lakers end up doing. Again, they filled up their 15th roster spot. They're going to have to make a move if they want one of these other players. Kind of the same names that we've been seeing. Nothing really changed. So just in regards to that, what are the names that you've seen? Haywood Highsmith, Lonzo Ball, Chris Boucher. Matisse Thybulle could be interesting, even though I know he's been injured, and we don't even know if Portland's going to give up on him. So we'll see what happens in regards to the buyout market if anybody's there for the Lakers. Alfred Sengun replaces SGA in the All-Star game. 3-point contest participants. If there's one thing I will give the All-Star game a little bit of credit for, 3-point contest is usually pretty good. They get some good players. Devin Booker, Con Knipple, Damian Lillard, Tyrese Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, Bobby Portis, and Norman Powell will be your folks for the 3-point contest. Wizards GM Will Dawkins expects AD to return this season. I don't know why. I don't know if they want draft compensation. That's what I'd be worried about. Like teams like the Utah Jazz that are blatantly tanking like they did against the Orlando Magic on Saturday. Last thing I'm going to mention for NBA news, Hornets have won 9 in a row Youngest team to win 9 in a row and longest win streak since 98-99 for the Hornets. Pretty impressive what they've been able to put together. So give them some credit. A lot of credit there going to certainly going to the Hornets. I know the Hornets had that in them. No idea the Hornets had that in them. All right, last thing I want to do, and then I'm going to read some of the comments here. Quick little weekend recap presented by the Wallace firm, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. You go to that website, free consultation if you're in need of an injury attorney. Super Bowl yesterday. You know what's funny? I thought the hype to the Super Bowl was so bad. There was just no hype. No hype. If Buffalo and Josh Allen could have got through and it was the Seahawks and the Bills, maybe if the Rams beat the Seahawks and it was Rams and Buffalo, I mean, just the matchup, I don't know, just wasn't good hype. I didn't mind Seattle getting in. I didn't really care about the Patriots being there. But typically the hype was so bad, it's like, hey, maybe we'll actually get a good game. That game was awful. Awful. It was a special teams, like, if you wanted video on special teams, that's the way to do it. Punts, field goals, and field position. Obviously not an exciting game, but it is what it is. The Seattle Seahawks win their second Super Bowl. Kenneth Walker, the third, rushes for 135 yards, gets the Super Bowl MVP. First, by the way, running back to win Super Bowl MVP since Terrell Davis back in Super Bowl 32. So obviously that's been a long time. I still enjoyed the game. I mean, I know it was boring, but Super Bowl is a Super Bowl. Enjoyed the commercials. Enjoyed, obviously, all the festivities that come with it. So at the end of the day, no, the game did not live up to any hype, or actually it lived up to the lack of hype, if you want me to put it that way. But kind of is what it is. Nothing you could do about it. But certainly not a game where everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is a classic. This happened, that. Nah, none of that. None of that. All right, let's read a couple of these comments and then we'll call it a day. Dame in the three-point shootout. By the way, good point. Yeah, you're right. I just kind of glossed over that. Damian Lillard, yes. Dude, why is Dame in the shootout yet the league's leading three-point percentage shooter isn't? It's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, Dame out for the season. I'm assuming he's out for the season, and then you have him there. That part I don't disagree with. The Super Bowl was so boring. The Patriots were outclassed, outmatched. I don't know how they made it there. I guess lucky for them that Knicks got injured. You know what? And also that Buffalo choked again. The Bills 1,000% should have beat Denver. Didn't. And then Bills probably would have handled the New England Patriots, I'm assuming. We'll see what would have happened. And that, unfortunately, was kind of the end there for the New England Patriots. They got to the Super Bowl, but didn't put up a fight. It's pretty funny. People all talking about Dame Lillard on here. I don't blame you, by the way. Kind of see where you're coming from here. All hail the Rui Kennard corner spacing. Oh, they'll have some real spacing there. Definitely some real spacing there. Alan, they're saying that you hate Braun in the comments. Is that true? Listen, brother. I give LeBron credit. And I was, oh, you glazing him, bro. I say one thing critical. Why do you hate LeBron? God bless all of you. Doesn't matter. I just give my opinion, try to be honest, and we'll go from there. All right, my people, phenomenal show today. Fun show. Thank you for all the comments. A lot of good comments today. Very, very active in the chat. So thank you very much for doing that. Looking forward to tomorrow's show, as always. Tonight, we'll do a post-game show after the Lakers take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Tomorrow, we're back on at 8 a.m. Tomorrow, we also got this giveaway with Harris. So looking forward to giving away a one-night stay plus $350 resort credit. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm for being a great partner as well. Thank you for being a part of the show. I will see everybody tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., and I will see everybody tonight after the Lakers take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Have a great rest of your Monday. I'll see you tonight.